A recent update to Toontown Rewritten was some of the SOS cards got some buffs. Or, I don't know, okay, some got buffs and some just remained the same. So, three categories of SOS cards were changed. The Cogs Miss SOS cards, the Toons Hit SOS cards, and the Lore SOS cards. And they were changed in a way that can heavily affect gameplay in team situations and especially in solo situations. So first, let's cover Toons Hit and Cogsmiss because I want to say lore for last because I have a lot to say on that conundrum right there. So Cogsmiss and Toons Hit. Basically, how it works is there are now 3, 4, and 5-star variants of each one. I don't remember the exactly which card is which, except I think Sticky Lou is 5-star Toons Hit, and I think Julius Weezer is 5-star Cogs Miss. And so 3-star, sorry, I think this is how it goes. 3-star will last 1 round, 4 stars will last for 2 rounds, and 5 stars will last for 3 rounds. 3 whole rounds of Toons hitting or Cogs missing. That is pretty game changing right there. Now, let me explain a scenario where this combination would be insane in a solo. So, what we could have is you're in a solo and you have a set of big cogs lured, and you use a cogs miss, and they all step back, attack, but they miss. And this is by a cogs miss, I mean either a Julius Weezer or the 2-turn SOS card. So you do that, they all miss. Then you call in Sticky Lou or some other, or the 2-turn Toons Hit. You call him in, and the cogs will again miss their attack. And then you can use the boat. So what this does is it makes the boat completely viable in a solo situation. Shoutouts to my boy Sperry for bringing up this scenario because he is the one I originally heard it from, and it actually sounds pretty amazing. So you can just use that combo and the boat becomes completely viable, because before the boat, it wasn't that viable in a solo situation. It was really risky because it's a drop gag, of course, and you don't have a stun in a solo situation, so using it would be quite risky. Another situation that Sticky Lou would be useful is in a group scenario, which is basically, a Toon could use a Sticky Lou every few turns, every time he runs out, and basically you can just go through an entire battle without missing anything, and you wouldn't have to use a Toons Hit every single round. You'd only have to use it every few rounds if that's how you want to go about things. You would literally have a perfect run. You wouldn't have to worry about gags missing at all. It would be literally impossible. And Julius Weezer, if you have an Uber around, then, and you're in, the VP where there are big strong cogs that can two-shot him and he's dead, then using a Julius Weezer a few times, that would be a big help, because the VP's cog rounds don't last very long, so you'd only need to use a few Julius Weezers to ensure that the Uber doesn't die. So you could literally just use a few Julius Weezers and there'd be no way that the Uber could die at all. It would be impossible. Same thing with the Toons Hit. You could also just use that to save the Uber. It would literally be the easiest thing ever. If you ran a Toon, ran your big Toon along with your Uber and just kept using those cards every few turns, then you'd have a pretty easy time in the VP. And these are only a few examples of how these cards can be used to your advantage. I'm sure people can come up with many more scenarios where these could be exploited for how broken I think they are. Because I don't really agree with the changes they made to the SOS cards. I think the SOS cards were fine as is. Actually, I already thought they were maybe a little too good. Obviously you have your really bad ones such as Guffaw and whatnot, but I thought that the good SOS cards, there were plenty of good SOS cards before, and I feel like the good ones, they were fine as is. You didn't need to touch them. Like as long as you had some Bessie, some Old Man, and some Flippy, you were set for solos or any other scenario. So I really don't agree with them buffing the SOS cards. Now, I mean, if they only changed the Toon Sit and Cogs Miss, I'd still would be kind of towards it. But the big one that I'm just over here scratching my head over is the change they made to the lore cards, specifically Old Man. That that I just cannot fathom that at all. So here's what they did with the lore cards. I think Stinky Ned is a big magnet, and it lasts as long as a big magnet. Nancy Gas is Hypno, it lasts as long as Hypno. But Old Man, little Old Man, oh my goodness. Little Old Man is now a presentation that lasts all 15 rounds. What? You you have a level 7 gag in the form of an SOS card now. That is actually insane. You can and it's not like a little old men are that hard to get. I mean, yeah, you'll have to shop and you're not going to get them every time, but if you just shop for specifically old men, you can still get, a few a day or a few in an hour or a few in a few hours, depending on your luck, but I mean, that's insane. You have old man lasting for 15 rounds now? Like, why? Why was that necessary? I just don't understand. SOS cards were already so good to begin with. Old Man was already so good to begin with. I don't understand why they had to buff him by that much. This is base lore. Uh, the only other SOS card I saw being this stupidly overpowered was Bessie. Because let's get real, Bessie's stupid. Bessie is really dumb. She is just one of the biggest trump cards in the entire game because as long as you have drop, actually, I don't know if that rule still applies. If the whole being dropless thing still affects the accuracy when you're alone and you don't have stun, but maybe that got changed. I'm not sure. I know there's plenty they changed about SOS cards already, so that could be out the window. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that you still have to have drop. But if you have drop, Bessie's dumb. Like she's just a get out of jail free card basically, unless you end up with a row of 12s, and then you're screwed. But that doesn't happen every single go around against the cogs. You get 412 sometimes, obviously, but you don't. It's not something that happens super often. So Bessie, I've always thought Bessie was pretty stupid because it's not quite as strong as a boat, but it's almost there. I mean, in a solo, it doesn't really matter the difference between a boat and Bessie because I think an unorganic boat that does 180 damage and Bessie does 170 damage, and in a solo that doesn't matter because both of them aren't enough to take out a level 12. Level 12 has 200 HP, but both of them can take out an 11, which has 156 HP. So I've always thought Bessie was pretty dumb, and I think Bessie's better than a boat because, like I said, as long as you have drop, and obviously as long as the cogs aren't lured, then Bessie cannot miss. You can just go into solos and just spam Bessie to win, and it's crazy. So I think Old Man is now he's up there with Bessie because he's dumb. I think he's broken. I don't think that was warranted for him to be buffed that hard. That's crazy. So now Now, I'm pretty sure most of you know the main strategy for a solo CEO if you had lore. Basically, what you would do is, you would fight the first round of cogs with SOS cards and a few fires and maybe some restock unites and tune-up unites, and then you would feed the cogs, and then you would go into the second battle round, and you would fire the first cog that came up, and then you would get the next round of cogs. And once you get the first four cogs, you would use your presentation, and then you would fire a cog on the right or left, and you would keep firing the new cog until the lore wore off. So, that was the thing. But you can only do that. You only had one presentation, so you had to have something to back that up. You had to have a different strategy the for the other cogs, because you weren't going to take out most of the cogs with that presentation. You would take out a pretty decent chunk, but you still had most of the cogs to worry about after that, so you had to employ a different strategy. And usually the strategy consisted of the old little old man, and cogs miss. But so a solo CEO, I don't even recommend using the presentation, because the presentation can miss unless it's organic. Fun fact, if you've never had organic lore, but an organic presentation, at least in the old game, an organic presentation could not miss. It had perfect accuracy. So, if you're in a solo CEO now and you don't have organic lore, but you have plenty of old men, there's no point in using the presentation, because an unorganic presentation has a chance of missing. Granted, my presentation in all iterations of the game has never missed. There's still a possibility. But if you have old man, it can't miss. So, that's a reason why you should just use old man instead of your presentation. If you have old man, you better have old man if you're doing a solo CEO. If you're in a solo CEO without old man, I don't know what you're doing. But I think you can probably use 3 or 4 old men and a solo CEO in that second battle round, and you're golden. You just need 3 or 4, and obviously you need a bunch of fires. So basically, the second battle round has just become old men and fires. That's all you need. And since old men last so long, you don't need that many. In the old games, when old men only lasted as long as a hypno, you needed a lot. You needed a lot of old men to make it through that battle round, and you needed a lot of cogs miss. So, there was a little more strategy involved. But now, oh goodness gracious, now just 3 or 4 old men, and that's all it takes. And the thing I hate, okay, let's be real. I feel like lore SOS cards were already kind of dumb to begin with, because they are literally just get out of jail free cards, just like Bessie, but they're completely safe. There's no risk to using a lore SOS card, because they can't miss. Lore SOS cards have never been able to miss. They have perfect accuracy as long as you have strong lore. I actually don't know the exact way in which being loreless affects lore SOS cards, but I think that it might either be able to miss or it doesn't last as long. But I know for sure, as long as you have strong lore, all the lore SOS cards, even Banana Peel, they have perfect accuracy. So, that was already pretty broken to begin with. That was already really good to begin with. But now, you have a presentation. You can have multiple presentations. You can collect 99 of these, and none of them can miss. And they last not 99 turns, but they last 15 turns. Why? For what? This game has never been hard. I know you guys have heard that before. You guys have heard that from me. You've heard that from Frizzy. You've heard that from Lefty and Kyle back in the day. This game isn't hard. Soloing isn't hard. It just takes a lot of rewards. It took some strategy back in the days, but now that there's this, all you need for any solo, basically, you just need to have about 10 old men at the maximum for a solo, and then a lot of fires, and that's all you need. That would be all you needed. Actually, maybe some cogs miss. You need about 10 old men max, You would need a few cogs miss. If you actually felt like counting all the turns of the presentation last, which actually would be a good idea. So have about 10 old men, 10 cogs miss, and then 10 tune-up cards as you know if you guess wrong, if you miscount the amount of turns, so you'll have a backup lane, you'll have some tune-up cards. So 10 old men, 10 cogs miss, 10 tune-up cards, and a bunch of fires, and that's all you need for any solo in the game. That's all you need. Granted, you have lore. I actually don't know how being loreless would affect this presentation thing on old men. I actually have no idea, but if you have lore, then what I just said, you're set. Like that's actually crazy. You would, for any solo in the game, any boss solo, I mean, you just need to get in the cog round, use an old man, and start firing, and you win. That's it. That's all you need to do now. And the fact that you don't even need that many, that that would not take that long to get. Those rewards would not take that long to get because you can shop and you get 2 cards from a VP. Finally, they took forever to come out with that update, but you get 2 cards from a VP and you can shop for them. And VPs don't last that long if you're with good tunes. You can just get it done within 10 or 15 minutes and you can just keep going, keep shopping, and if you want, you can gather some friends and you can shop for these specific cards that I'm talking about. I don't know. I just don't get how this was warranted. Like, this game is not hard. It's not hard at all. This game, I mean, it's so simple. The strategy that goes into soloing has always been pretty minimal, but at least there was a little bit of challenge to it. If you didn't have stacks of rewards, if you had only moderate rewards, then you were gonna have to think a little. But now, like I said, moderate rewards would be completely fine. You could do a completely perfect run with 10 tune-up cards, 10 old men, and 10 cogs miss. You'd be golden, and fires, of course. So actually, the only thing that would take a lot of is fires, but still combined, that reward spread is a lot less than you would expect from the old game. So I really don't understand what warranted this change. I really don't, because this is pretty busted. Especially Old Man. Old Man's busted. Like I said, I've always thought lore SOS cards were really, really good because they have perfect accuracy. Perfect accuracy. And I know organic presentation has perfect accuracy, but now you can have 99, you can carry 99 presentations or 100 counting. No, never mind. You can carry 99 presentations the last 15 turns and have perfect accuracy. That's unreal, man. So, in conclusion, Oldman and Bessie can sit at the top of the pecking order for the SOS cards because they sit in a tier that only they occupy, the broken godlike tier, the brain dead tier, because all you need, they're basically the 2 cards that, they're basically panic buttons. If you're in a sticky situation, then one of them will get you out of it. If there are 4 12s, old man, you're fine. If there's a bunch of 11s, just Bessie, you're fine. And all this cogs miss stuff, use that and you're basically invincible for multiple turns. And you'll be able to have more time to get yourself out of a jam and use more turns. Cogs miss, it allows you to plan something out. Like, say, all right, you use a cogs miss, then you call Clara and then you lure them in. That's dumb. I remember in my first solo CEO, I would implore the Clara strategy because I didn't have drop. And I'm rambling quite a bit now. You guys can see that I still am not that great at closing out videos. But TLDR, guys, these new SOS cards are absolutely bonkers, and soloing has become even somehow even less impressive than it already was. Soloing was never that impressive to begin with unless you put some crazy restriction on it, like only having one laugh. And even that sort of thing, as long as you have tons of rewards in the old game, that was completely doable. That wasn't that hard. But now you don't even need that many rewards to do a one laugh solo. But it does take skill because obviously the final rounds going completely hitless in those, that's hard. That actually is legitimately hard. So, you know, the one laugh solos, that was always impressive. And then the only way solos would be impressive now is you restrict yourself. You allow yourself to not use a certain card or use a very limited amount of a certain card. That would be impressive. And that's what I want to do on this channel. I want to solo all the bosses, but in my own way. I probably won't do one laugh solos because actually, or maybe I will do one laugh solos because I want to try my hand at it. I've done hitless VP pie rounds, but that's it. So I think I'm capable of doing one laugh solos. Okay, except maybe the CJ, because I'm actually really bad at the CJ. I am so bad at seeding tunes, guys. I am terrible at that. I don't know if I'll ever do one laugh solo CJ. Oh, goodness, but again, I'm rambling. Alright, so guys, these new SOS cards, they're whack. They're absolutely whack. And soloing is dead. Soloing is brain dead now. Unless you put restrictions on it. But traditional soloing is now brain dead, and you should not care about it. So that's it from me. Toontown Rewritten. Why you do this? This game's easy already. And that's all I have to say on the matter. Good lord, this video was entirely too long. These new updates, man. I don't know, they get me in a ranting mood, and yeah, all right. That's it from me. See you guys in the next video.